Yes, please.
Yeah. So, welcome everyone to one more session of PEPS industry lectures. And in today's session, we have a speaker who is alumni of IIT Hyderabad. So, welcome him back to IIT Hyderabad, and let me briefly give his uh, biodata. So, that is Mr. Prashant Patel, received BTech from NIT Surat and MTech from IIT Hyderabad in 2011. He joined Hitachi Research and Development in 2012 as a senior researcher, and currently he is a deputy general manager of Hitachi Hirail Power Electronics Private Limited. His research areas are focused on design and development of grid-connected solar PCS, that is power converter systems, and uninterruptible power supply UPS system. His key developments are N+1 technology development of UPS, development of rooftop solar inverter, Indian grid code-based LVRT control, development for standalone and parallel megawatt solar PCS, advanced synchronization controls, development for grid-connected converter. So he's currently working on development of DC UPS and modular UPS. He has registered 7 patents, published 5 IEEE transactions, 1 journal paper, and also received 8 awards from Hitachi for his contribution to technology development work. So we are with this. I would like to mention that we are proud of the achievements of Prashant Patel, and we are proud that he is IIT Hyderabad alumnus, and he is doing very well in the industry. So, with this brief introduction, I would like to pass on the stage to Mr. Prashant Patel. So, please go ahead and start your lecture, please.
My screen is visible to everyone?
Yes, we are able to see your title screen. Yes.
Yeah. So there is something common between you and me. I passed out from IIT Hyderabad in 2011 and joined Hitachi in 2012. Before I joined Hitachi, I have a few questions in my mind that how should I this academic knowledge in our real product? So today I'm going to share you this knowledge which helps me to grow in my personal life. It might help you to hone your research too. So good afternoon. My name is Prashant Patel. I would like to thank you, Professor Bhaskar sir, Professor Pradeep sir, and IIT Hyderabad for giving me an opportunity to have an interaction with you, all of you. It always gives an immense pleasure to deliver a lecture in the institute from which we took up our degree. So as it is introduced that today's presentation topic is the design and development of grid connected converter as per the industrial standard. So this is the contents for today's presentation. So first, I would like to start from the background and projects executed at Hitachi. So what's the background of Hitachi? Hitachi has several units in India, but just today I'm just showing 2 units. Like one unit, it is the Hitachi India Limited that is situated in Karnataka, Bangalore, and another unit of HHP, that is Hitachi Hirail Power Electronics. It is situated in Sanand, Gujarat. So I joined Hitachi India Limited R&D in 2012 as a senior engineer, and now I am working in HHP as a deputy general manager of R&D. These 2 units is working in close coordination with the Hitachi Japan, especially in terms of the technology sharing. So now HHP has many products, but there are main streamline. There are 4 products are there. One is the uninterruptible power supply. We have range for single phase UPS and 3-phase UPS. In 3-phase UPS, we have range from 5 until 500 kVA. Similarly, for the solar inverter, we have grid connected solar inverter from the 500 kilowatt to 2.5 megawatts solar PCS. Also, the DC bus variation is like 1000 volt to 1500 volt DC. We also MV and LV drives is one of the main products of the HHP. Similarly, we have railway products like railway inverters and the RBC railway battery charger. So when I joined Hitachi, the first project assigned to me is to have to develop a grid connected solar inverter, that is the rooftop solar inverter. So in 2014-15, I have executed that project. That is a 20 kilowatt solar inverter. Previously in HHP, there was once 20 kilowatt solar inverter, but the efficiency was a bit lower. It's around 87%, and also it's a 2-stage, and the size was bigger. and also the IP protection was also around 24, and it's with transformer. So my target, the given target was like I have to achieve efficiency almost around 98%. Instead of double stage conversion, I have to build a single stage solar inverter. It should be a transformer-less design. Also, as per our IEEE 1547 standard, the current THD should be less than 3% if grid having a voltage THD less than 1%. As it's a rooftop application, so always IP65 is the desired. So we also build our solar inverter based on the IP65. Currently, based on the new grid code formed by the Indian government, we have to provide the islanding feature in the 20 kilowatt solar inverter. So we have provided that LVRT islanding features, and also the size and cost is also according to the market. Means the approximately BMC cost for the 20 kilowatt solar inverter is a 60,000 INR, and all the applicable standards we have considered that is mentioned here. So that was the first project I have done in Hitachi. The second executed project is about the N+1 UPS technology developments. Means we have to develop some control strategy. By using that control strategy, we can connect our N UPS in parallel. So we have developed some master-based control strategy based on the CAN communication. And it's a very complex control strategy because at any time you can remove any system from the parallel combination. You can also insert that system into this combination. This plug and play operation is possible. Here you can see this image source, that is the over 7+1 UPS we connected in the parallel. That is our real hardware setup. And the control strategy, as I mentioned, is a master slave based control strategy. After that, the next project I have done, that is LVT in megawatt solar PCS. LVT means low voltage right through. I think you are also familiar with, like I think 2017 Indian government has formulated some Indian grid code for the renewables. So if you want to sell your renewable connected devices, renewable connected products into the market, then you have to provide these LVRT certificates. So according to the LVRT, means whenever there is a dip in the grid, means if there is a fault in the grid, definitely voltage is going to be down. So for a certain duration, you should not disconnect your solar inverter from the grid. And during that connection, you have to provide the reactive power to the grid. So the duration for the grid and also the amount of the reactive power, it is decided by the Indian grid code. And also all this process you have to do within a stipulated time period. So that is the real challenging task. So we have done this. I have implemented that control success grid code. We have also achieved CAS certificate. This for LVRT because our is the mega PCS directly connected with the 11 kV supply line. So these are our solar PCS is situated here. Is directly with the 11 kV line through this transformer, and here is blue color, and you can see it's a LVRT container. So by this generating different kinds of fault, like line to line fault, line to ground fault, or three-phase fault, or any fault. So it's a wind test. This is the one certified called from the Germany. So we demonstrated our solar PCS in front of them, and we got the certificate. About my current project, means currently I am working on this improvement of the performance of the UPS. Means we want to make a very robust performance of the UPS, and also we are trying to do the parallel communication, paralleling of UPS without any communications. Means we want to remove the CAN communications, and also instead of the simple PI control, we are planning for all these advanced control strategies. So like the technology means right now we are working on this is the impedance based control for faster dynamic response. Also we are doing all this modeling and simulations based on the to improve the control, and also we are planning to use that DPWM switching in this rectifier, but there are several disadvantages of the DPWM switching. So we have modified that control, that is known as the harmonic shifting based DPWM control, that we are using. About my future projects is I'm going to work in this DC UPS and modular UPS. So these are the brief about backgrounds and what are the projects I have executed at Hitachi. Second is about the overview and prerequisite for the designing a converter. So today I'm going to share how the industrial converter is designed. So like for the industrial process is always means we have to follow some strategies to develop any new product. Like the first means we are getting any, if there is any requirement into the company or any industries, we can get that requirement from the sales teams. Sales teams based on the market and also what is the future requirement. Based on that requirement, it gives that specification sheets to the R&D. So after that, we are arranging one design review meeting. So in this design review meeting, especially first of all, based on the requirement for the sales team, suppose they are told that we have to design some converter, they will give the some specifications. So based on that specifications, we are just selecting all these hardware components. In selection of all these magnetics and the devices and DC capacitors, the protection devices, heat sinks, all the card like control card and this power supply feedback card, display card, interface card, SMPS. Also, we have to calculate what would be the efficiency of our approximate efficiency of our products, and also the cost, because for the industry, if you want to put any product in the market, always cost size are the prime factor, and also technology is also. After that, we are doing the mechanical design review. So in this, whatever the hardware component is selected, we are placing into one cabinet and we are making some external cabinet for this product. So for this also we have some review meetings. After that, the software review means in software actually what we are doing, we are preparing all the control strategies. So first of all, we are designing and development of the control strategy by doing the modeling and simulations led analysis. Also, we are taking about what are the technology we are, whether it's based on the current trends or what are the research means what are the current latest technology we are trying to implement. Also, every time we have to think about the reliability of the product, because reliability is one of the very much important parameter. Because suppose if you put one product into the market and suppose anyhow suppose it fails, then ultimately it damages the image of these companies. So reliability is very important for any product. Third thing is about the physical possibility. Means we have to verify. Suppose if I'm proposing some technology, okay, we will build suppose 5 level, 7 level technology, but suppose physical possibility is very less, then we are avoiding such kind of condition. So after that, there is a final design review meeting. So in that we are finalize how we are thinking about the final prototype development. Once the prototype is developed, we have prototype review meetings. So in that we are just do the physical study observations of the prototype. Means we will just check whether the design cabinet is easily everyone means easily accessible for all the components. So during the any maintenance, service engineer can easily access, means remove the faulty parts and replace the new parts. So such kind of the view. Also from the safety parts of also we have to consider during this time. After that, we are making means what are the software we have prepared. So that software we are dumping into the controller and we are testing whether our prototype was working fine or not. So after that, we have some internal R&D review meetings. So in that, we are just producing our results and all this condition. So once everything is done from the R&D side, we are giving this is our QA department. QA is the quality assurance department. So they will validate the products in all aspects, means like safety and quality. Means what's the performance and the reliability, everything they will do. So after that, we have final review. Means in final review, all the departments present, and we will do means we will just final verification of all the results and everything. So once it is done, we are preparing all the final document to hand over the production department, and finally production will make that product and for the final dispatch. Means once this given to the production, the task of R&D is over. If in future, suppose if they are facing some problem related to some site failures or something, then again R&D have to involve in this. So during all this process,
Prashant, I have one question. This is from the perspective of the career in this thing. So in the whole design process, how much of do you read the literature, that is research literature? How much you read, and also what kind of support does the industry give for attending conferences and doing your own personal research?
Yes. Yeah. So means like as I told, here is a software review. So this task is solely means given by the R&D department. So as I told, we have to think about the technology based on the current trends. So every time for the R&D, we have some forums here like Hitachi internal forums. So whatever the latest technology they are using in Hitachi, we can easily access that technology. So and also we have IEEE forums, Science Direct forum, and also like we have some separate department for this patent and for this journal and papers. So in close coordination we are working together. And suppose if you are reading some IEEE conference papers, suppose they have given some technology, so we are preferring like that, instead of using directly that control, shall we modify somewhere, so whatever the results they have achieved, can we make it better like that? Means in coming slides I will also explain these things. So every time we are working, our aim is like that. This is the hexagonal pyramid. So there are 6 sides. Like one is the loss, weight, volume, failure rate, cost, and time to market. So our aim is every time we have to reduce all these 6 parameters. Then only we can survive in this competitive market. So that is our motto for the state of the art for the any new product development. Like first, as I told, we are receiving specifications from the sales teams. So this is one example. Suppose they have given this specification. If you want to design a converter, there is so and so rating of the converter. We have like input voltage is this is a 415 volt. Maybe it's a 3-phase 4-wire, 3-phase 3-wire, whatever the specifications they have provide. What are the tolerance, like plus 15%, minus 20% voltage variation? We have to means within this range also our converter should work. The frequency range is also they have provided. Suppose 42 to 58 is the frequency window. So within this window, our converter should work properly. We want unity power factor at 0.99. Also, they will give the input current. Input TSD is also less than, means what are the specifications? We have to achieve all these specifications. Like soft start is 30 to 60 seconds, because any converter, if you connect with the grid, there is a DC capacitor. So definitely we have to provide a soft start. So what are the timing is required? That is also provided from the sales teams. Approximately efficiency also they are planning. Suppose if you build a new converter, they want efficiency more than 95%. If you make a less than 95%, it is not acceptable. Similarly for the slew rate, suppose we are connecting converter with the grid, and grid have a frequency variation. Suppose frequency variation is less than 4 hertz per second, still our converter should be connected properly with the grid. So that is also one of the criteria. If frequency variation is above 4 hertz per second, you make a disconnect your converter for the protection purpose. So like this, this is input specifications. Similarly, we are getting some output specifications. What are the specifications for the load side? Similarly, sometimes they are giving the mechanical specifications, because sales teams always reviewing the competitor's product and what is the market current requirement. So based on that requirement only, we have to make our product with the latest technology and latest features. So just we will start about the converter, like basics of the converter. There are like AC to AC converter, it's a cyclo converter. DC to DC, it's like a maybe buck converter, buck boost, or we can also consider SMP is also one of the DC to DC converter. Also DC to AC is an inverter, and there is one converter AC to DC is a rectifier. So today our focus is on this AC to DC rectifier. We will design what are the main parameters and how we are design a converter in industry that we are going to see. So rectifier, maybe there is uncontrolled and control rectifier, and also there are specifications like half wave and the full wave control rectifier. So today we will focus on this full wave control rectifier. Now converter also means like we can operate converter this 4 quadrant. There is first quadrant operation, second quadrant. But for today's presentation, we are focusing on this first and second quadrant. Means we are thinking like that converter takes power from the grid, also converter feed powers into the grid. So these 2 operations we are for designing the converter. So converter, I think we are very much know that this is suppose active front-end converter. Input is power source, maybe it's electrical grid, and output is maybe load, or maybe another converter, that is DC to AC converter. Okay, so here load maybe it's anything. So we are taking to design a controller for this converter, means we are taking inputs, we are taking feedbacks from the input, from the output also, and this controller do some control actions, and it generates control signals for this active front-end converter. So we have several questions: why controller is required, which type controller is suitable for particular applications, and how it performs. So for all these questions, and also we know the basics of this, means what are the features of the AFC. Like AFC, the one feature is maintain unity power factor. That is the prime feature of AFC. Second one is provide a current with a very low harmonic distortion. If you are giving a AFC, means always current THD should be less than 3%. There is a possibility of the boosting operation, because AFC means definitely we have to, maybe there is a possibility we can boost up the DC bus voltage. There is a bidirectional power exchange should be possible. So we can take the power from the grid, also we can feed the power to the grid. Second thing is about maintain constant and high DC bus voltage. That is also one of the requirement to design a converter. And also eliminates power factor correction system and harmonic filter. If you are using AFC, then no need for extra power factor correction devices and any other harmonic filters, means extra harmonic filter like active front and active filters, that it is not required, because AFC should do all these tasks. So before design a converter, what we are doing in suppose this is one of the converter. Just see, this is a basic converter. Suppose I have designed this converter in our suppose factory premises where the grid is quite a clean grid. So definitely it's a converter, though there is some synchronization logic. It's a suppose conventional PLL is there for the synchronism with the grid, and there is a closed loop control. So in factory premises, definitely converter is functioning properly. But now that same converter, once you reaches to the customer side, maybe the customer side, the condition is quietly different. It is like if you see here, the grid is highly distorted grid. So maybe with this environment, maybe our converter may be functioning or it may not function. So like maybe sometimes we face like the issues like a converter set trip or converter sync failure or converter IGBT failure. So all these types of failure we should not want in for the while we are designing the industrial converter. So every time we have to think about not only about the condition that we in factory premises, we have to consider about all the scenario and all the aspect. So all this like this information we are used to get from our CST departments, means they will provide all the, because they have all the database. So we are getting all the information regarding the customers at the site's location, different site location. So all these site locations we are also executed, means we are testing our converter in our factory premises before finalize the product. So that is one of the aim. We have to check converter not only with a certain condition, we have to check with the in broader sense. So this is one simple single line diagram of a grid connected converter. Here you can see it's a electrical grid. There is an input LCL filter for the converter. So like a 2-level converter, maybe it's a 2-level, 3-level or 5-level converter. And here it's the DC voltage. So it's convert AC voltage into this DC. So now max, I have to say, maybe according to our requirement, maybe we can select whether it's a L filter or LC filter or LCL filter. Also, instead of here, suppose it's an inductor, maybe we can select a transformer. It's auto transformer, isolations transformer. Suppose we have requirement like customer wants the isolations of your converter, so maybe we are putting here isolations. If they don't want any isolations, then auto transformer is also preferable, because if you use auto transformer instead of the isolations transformer, maybe we have one advantage like in cost. So what are the points for industrial converter design? Because if you are designing a converter, so you want some feedbacks from your converter system. So first point is, what is the best position to take the voltage and current feedback from the converter? Second point, how is the synchronization control performed with the industrial grid? Because many times if you see the industrial grid, it's always a very worst kind of the grid. Means it's highly distorted, highly frequency variation in the grid. And also there is amplitude variation, there is a zero crossover distortion in the grid. So with such kind of the grid, whether our design converter is able to function proper or not, that we have to take. Then how is the closed loop control of the converter with the varying load and the grid condition? Means if you design a controller, so it is working fine with the suppose sinusoidal waveform, but whether our closed loop controller has a sufficient stability, whether it's a sufficient gain margin, phase margin, so it can sustain with such kind of the rapidly varying load condition or rapidly varying grid condition. So this is also one of the prime factor. Another is the how to improve dynamic response of the converter control. Means, many times we are in simulations also we are considering about the steady state response. But for industrial converter design, we have to think about the transient response. Transient is the prime condition because anything happens in transient condition, and if your converter fails, means there is no meaning of for the steady state response. About the fifth is how to improve the grid current TSD. Suppose if your current TSD is more than 3%, then I think we should not provide any the certificates of IEEE. So this is also one of the condition. So now let's at what are the prerequisites for the control development. Suppose if you are going to develop a control for this converter, so what are the prerequisites you have to know? Means here you can say it's a grid. There is a LCL filter. It's a converter and DC. Now we want some feedbacks. Now feedbacks, if you want feedbacks like you have to measure a grid voltage, grid current, and DC bus voltage, DC current. So what the position for the sensor? One is the possible option. You can put your grid voltage, means you can put your sensor at this point to measure the grid voltage. Second option, maybe you can put your grid means sensor at this position. You can measure the voltage across this filter capacitor. That is also you can use for this as a grid voltage. Maybe your current sensor, you can put your current sensor at the converter side. Another option, you can put your current sensor at this side, at the grid side. So what is the best position to see? Means we have to clear about what is the position for your current and voltage sensor. Because suppose if you select your current sensor, if you select at this converter side and voltage sensor at the filter side, capacitor, if you are measuring grid voltage from the filter capacitor, then your this VC voltage and this current at the converter side, you can get unity power factor at this point. From the phasor diagram also it's clear. You will not get unity power factor at VG and IG. Okay, so and also if you putting your voltage sensor at this point, so if when you design a transfer function of your system, so in your plant you are considering only this converter, means DC capacitor converter and this LC. This L doesn't come into the picture. Second thing, like if you maybe there is another option, you can put your current sensor on grid side and voltage sensor on the filter capacitor. Then you can get unity power factor between this VC and this IG. Okay, so here also from the phasor diagram, it's clear that you can get unity power factor at this point. So what are the specifications you receive? Suppose customer wants the specifications at unity power factor at the terminal of the converter. Then we definitely we have to put our current sensor and voltage sensor at this point at the grid side. So that is the third point, current sensor on the grid side and voltage sensor are also on the grid side. That is another option. So in this point, we can consider in our plant transfer function, we are considering everything. LCL filter, this is the converter, and this DC bus. Another last option is like current sensor on the converter side and voltage sensor on the grid side. So this option actually, we are selecting sometimes this option. We are selecting putting current sensor at the converter side. The main advantage of this, if you putting current sensor at the converter side, then easily you can protect your converter during the abnormal condition. Because if you put current sensor at this side, and if you put current sensor at this side, so there is a definitely the delay of this LCL filter comes into picture. So definitely if your current sensor is this side, then you can quickly shut down your converter during any abnormal condition, and you can protect your converter from any damages. So first point, we have to consider we have completely understand the system before designing a control system. That is the first criteria. Second thing is about we want, suppose we want boosting operation through our AFC. Okay, so we are putting like this is our overall impedance, that is the input impedance of our filter. So suppose we want boosting operation, this is a grid voltage. So during very first pulse of the converter, so inductor will be charged through this part, and during this next switching cycle, this inductor will be discharged, means whatever the source energy plus inductor energy will be discharged through this DC capacitor. So in this way, boosting operation is quite possible. So suppose we have grid voltage is suppose 415 volt, and suppose customer wants DC bus voltage is 750 volt. Then what is this value of the L? Means whatever the LCL filter we have designed, whether it's sufficient to boost up such kind of 750 volt DC from this 415 volt AC. So we should verify this condition. Second thing is about, suppose if they want only 135 volt DC voltage from 415 volt AC, then definitely we have to use some step down transformer. Maybe we can use from 415 volt to 63 volt. Suppose they want 351 DC voltage, then maybe we can select another step down transformer, maybe 415 volt to 182 volt. So like that, from means this condition is also be clear in our mind. So in this way, this boosting operation will happen. So desired operation also should be clear before design a converter. Third thing is about what is the input current THD. Suppose they want input current THD less than 3%. So whether before implementing a closed loop control system, first you should validate whether this LCL filter in open loop system, we are just validating whether it can eliminate all the switching harmonics component and also attenuate the lower order harmonics, and whether we can get the THD less than 3% or not. So this is also means we have to verify. And suppose power factor, suppose some customers want unity power factor, then it's also fine. We have to verify that voltage and current should have a zero displacement, phase displacement at this point. Another thing is, like, suppose some customer wants a reactive power support, then also we have to think about it. So what is the required performance of the EFC, that we should be clear. Now, some our academic knowledge is also very much plays an important role. Like suppose because design a controller means you have to model the whole system. Once you completely design the mathematical model of this converter, then only you can understand what's the behavior of a converter in term during transient and the steady state condition. So like first is you should solve out this converter circuits by using ordinary differential equation solving techniques. Once you derive these differential equations, means you have to, so you can format the transfer function of the systems. Also, you should have some controllers basic knowledge. You should know about the what's the proportional control, integral controller, PI control, PID controller, or any other control, like there are several controllers like repetitive control, sliding mode control. Some basics you should know. Then state space analysis, pole zero map analysis to derive transfer functions. And all this analysis maybe will do in time domain analysis. So once you do in the time domain analysis, we have to go to the frequency domain analysis, because we want to extract all the frequency information, not only fundamental, all this low order and the higher switching frequency components information. And so we are using Laplace domain analysis. And once Laplace domains, it's just for the analysis. Now for this analysis, we have to write a software for it. So software always we have to write in the discrete domain. So whatever this discrete S domain, we have to convert into discrete domain by using the Z transform. For example, suppose we are using PI controller. The simple Laplace domain equation is Kp plus Ki by S. Now, if you want to write a software for this controller, means S means you have to convert first into digital domain. So just convert from Laplace to Z transform by using Z is equal to e raised to minus st, and you can use forward, backward, or any methods for to convert into discrete equations. After that, there is also you have knowledge of Bode and Nyquist analysis, because once you design a controller, you should validate whether your controller is stable. Stability criteria we have to analyze. We will see some of these criteria while designing our converter. Now modeling, I think you are familiar with this modeling. We can do modeling in time domain, frequency domain, and pole zero domain. Also, you can design model for the switch model and average model. Normally, we are using switch model for the transient analysis and average model for the steady state analysis. So method of the system modeling should be clear before this. After this, you should have knowledge about this transforming from one domain to another domain, because it is always desirable to do our control action in DC domain, because it's easy to control and easy to understand the situations. So from the Clark transformation, we can transform from three-phase reference frame to two-phase reference frame, and from this, by using Park transformation, you can convert into ID and IQ. That is a synchronous rotating reference frame. So transformation theory is one of the criteria. Second thing is about your should have clear idea about the power system, like power flow theorem. Suppose your Vs is the grid voltage, Vr is your converter source. So if you want to transfer power from the source to the converter side, so the criteria for the power flow equation is like for the real power is the equation is the sending end voltage, receiving end voltage, and sine delta. where delta is the phase difference between these two voltage divided by the XL or maybe the impedance between these two sources. Similarly, for the reactive power, this is the equation. So that is the familiar equation for the power flow theorem. Okay, so this also we will use for this design a converter control. Now, control development process, like what we are normally doing, we are first doing the modeling of the complete system. From this modeling, we are developing during this modeling of the systems after that we are developing a control strategy. So here during this design of control strategy, we used to refer all this IEEE, what are the recent patterns, and also what are the recent similar products available in the market. So is there any patterns on it? Is there what are the recent technology they are using? So everything we should refer, and based on that we also have to provide some good features. Then only we can survive in this competitive markets. And every time while designing this control strategy, means we have to think about one thing. We have to clear in mind that what are the solutions you are suggesting. It should be physically, it should be possible. It should not be like that it's only for the simulation space possible, but on the real hardware it might not be possible. So such kind of technology, it's not advisable. So after designing this control strategy, we are giving some sets of input. Like one is the input is like the different types kind of the grid. Like we are designing converter. So there are varying parameter is like grid parameter and also load. So we are preparing simulation study. So in simulations, sometimes we are doing simulations through MATLAB simulations, sometimes using PCIN simulations. We have also prepared one simulations tools, like sometimes we are doing simulations power circuit analysis in MATLAB, like control circuit simulations in PCIN, and whatever our software, the whole control we are writing in the Visual Basics, and the integration of all these softwares we are just validating our control. So our observations like that this integration tools means it can fill the gap between the simulations results and the hardware results. And it is advisable, suppose if you are doing simulations, many times people are doing simulations in the continuous domain, but ultimately suppose if you have planned to build a hardware, then I think it's advisable you should do simulations in discrete domain. Means suppose you are discrete domain means whatever your ISR means closed loop interrupt timing. So based on that should be your they are sampling time of your system. So from this simulation study, after simulation study and validating the simulations results, we are going for the hardware testing. We are getting the results of the hardware. After that, our task should not be over. We are just comparing our simulations results and hardware results. If we are finding any gaps between these results, we are again recorrecting over the simulations because it helps when we are making our next product. Whatever the suppose some things we are missing in simulations, that's why our results are not matching with the hardware. So that we have to rectify these points at this stage. Like that, we are doing our control development activity. Now, for the test condition, as I told, we are not testing with only with the clean grid or whatever the premises grid. We are also testing with different kind of the grid, like distorted grid, unbalanced grid, frequency, amplitude variation, zero crossover distortion, and any combination. Now the zero crossover distortion is the very worst kind of the grid, and if you see during the highly nonlinear loads in today's market, industrial grids mainly have zero crossover distorted grid. I think zero crossover distorted grid means I think at zero crossover you will find a flat profile. So it's very difficult for the converter to maintain the synchronism with such kind of the grid. So now suppose this is our converter. We are taking feedback from the grid voltage. We are measuring the grid voltage. That grid voltage is used for the synchronization control. This synchronization signal is given to this converter closed loop control. And converter, this controller design generates the modulating waveform. It gives a command to the PWM modulator, and finally this converter is functioning properly. So mainly there are three types of controller you can see. One is a synchronization control. Second one is this converter closed loop control. So we have outer voltage loop and inner current loop controller. Okay, so today we will see in detail about this designing of all this controller. Now we are going to design this industrial converter. So synchronization control means definitely conventional PLL based control is not sufficient. We have to think about, because Many times we have seen like that conventional PLL control may not maintain a synchronism with distorted grid or zero crossover distorted grids. It's difficult, so we have to think about some advanced synchronization control. Now converter closed loop control, like while we are designing this AVR means voltage control and ACR means automatic current regulator, current control, you have to think about what is the your gain margin, phase margin, bandwidth of the controller, such that your controller should be stable with all types of the customer side's condition. Third one is a harmonics current control. Instead of simple PI based controller, we have to think about some advanced harmonic current control techniques. About a faster dynamic response is always advisable. So we have to think about the all these conditions. We have to do the proper analysis, because once you design a converter, you should do the stability analysis. One of the tool that we are using, that is the impedance based stability analysis tools that we are using to validate our converter. After that, there is our task is not over. We have to provide protection in the converter. So there are several kinds of protection, like voltage protection, current protection, and all this. Like suppose if some feedback gets open, some feedback damage, or maybe there is failure of the communication or whatever, overload protections. Many failures are there. So all this protection we have to provide. So during this, suppose some failures happen, so at that time it should protect our converter. And also current peak detection means there are many research is ongoing about for this current peak detection, because ultimately we have to protect our devices, because the costliest device like IGBTs and all this, so we have to protect our IGBT in all conditions. So software protection as well as the hardware protection we have to provide in our converter. So this is already I have explained, like we are measuring grid voltage, synchronization signal, closed loop control, and this converter. So now we will start about the detailed analysis for the control development. So control design for a grid connected converter. So first one, like here it's a grid and it is your converter. Now between these two, if you want to transform a power, real and reactive power between these two sources. So as I told, the power flow equation, from this power flow equation, we know that P is equal to E1 by E1 E2 by X1 into sine delta. Similarly, this is the equation for the reactive power. So if you want to transform active power from this grid to this converter, so by changing this delta angle, you can transfer the real power. So what is the means you can control this converter, because grid is not in our control. So by changing this delta, we can transfer the real power from the grid to the converter based on the load requirement. Similarly, suppose if you want reactive power from the grid, so from this equation, by changing the amplitude of this converter modulating waveform, we can transfer the reactive power. Okay. So first control strategy is that is the based on the PQ, means like we are measuring voltage at this point and current as at this point from the grid side. From this E1 and I1, we are calculating the real power and reactive power. Now we are doing all these calculations in DQ domain. So definitely it requires the information of this theta. So there is a phase detection unit from the grid voltage. It generates the delta. So it gives this is actual our power, real and reactive power. We are comparing with the reference. What is the reference power? That is a required power, real and reactive power. Error feeds to this APR, means active power regulator, and means there are two separate loops. One is the APR loop, another is the AQR loop. It generates the current reference. That current reference compare with the actual current. It generates error and means it gives to the inner current loop, and it generates a final modulating waveform. It fits to this our converter. So another control strategy, that is one control strategy that is based on this real and reactive power based control strategy. Second control strategy is based on this DC voltage level, because suppose if you suddenly apply the load to the converter, immediately we cannot draw that power from the grid, because from the grid to the load side there is several impedance is present, like impedance of this filter, and there is an impedance of this converter sides. So it takes some time to take the power, final power from the grid. So whatever the means in during transient, the immediate power will be provided from the DC. So there definitely DC voltage level is going to change. So from the DC voltage level, we can easily estimate what is the requirement of the load. So that's why we are comparing this DC bus voltage with our reference voltage. Suppose reference is 750 volt is a fixed voltage, and suppose we are giving the step load condition. Then definitely there will be dip in the voltage. Suppose dip is suppose 20 volt. So voltage actual voltage comes 730 volts. So 20 volt is the your error. It gives to this AVR loop and it generates a current reference, that is the current required from the grid. So it generates a more current, means it increase the value of this current reference because its requirement is more, and it compares with the actual current, and it gives to the ACR, and finally ACR generates a modulating waveform. Here AVR means automatic voltage regulator, that is the voltage controller, and ACR is the current controller. So normally we are preferring this control strategy for our designing of our converter control. So this is a summary of this. Like if you want to design a control of active and reactive power, so you should require grid voltage phase detection unit because you have to calculate P and Q. Second, control strategy. We want to maintain a DC voltage constant because our control strategy that is based on the AVR and ACR. So that is the second strategy. So automatic voltage regulator system is required. And third one, our criteria, because we are designing an industrial converter. So high robustness is required. So control is possible regardless of the grid condition. That is one condition. Second is high continuity of operation is required. Suppose during there is a changes in the load, like there is a right now there is a no load condition. Now suddenly if you apply a 100% load, so during that condition the current should not be cross your threshold limit. Otherwise, so this current also you have to be suppressed through some proper control mechanism. So that's why ACR is also inner current loop is preferable while designing this second type of control. Now we will see about this phase detection method. So phase detection method that is used for the synchronization of your converter with the grid. So conventional we are using means normally everyone is using the PLL based synchronization control. We are just measuring the grid voltage. There is a maybe phase signal detection unit. It is generated is sine omega t and cos omega t. So sine omega t is exactly in synchronism with this your U phase voltage, means R phase voltage. So normally there are two familiar methods like PLL based method. Second one is the harmonic SOGI, and SOGI is the second order generalized integrator. Or maybe instead of harmonic SOGI, maybe DFT is also familiar method, that is discrete Fourier transform method. So what is the key difference between these two? Like PLL, I think everyone is familiar. We are taking our system voltage signal. Suppose it's from the converter, it's generated this system voltage signal, and this signal we are comparing, because from this signal we are extracting the phase information, and that phase is compared with 0 because we want close synchronism with the grid. So definitely there should not be any phase difference between the converter voltage and the grid voltage. So we are comparing with the 0, and the error is feeding to the controller and it generates the grid this frequency. If you do the integration, we generated theta, and theta again we are using for this closed loop. So this is our conventional PLL block. Having harmonic SOGI and DFT block. So normally, suppose if you want to synchronization our signal from 50 Hz, maybe if in India it's 50 Hz or maybe in USA 60 Hz. So that is our reference signal, and that is our system voltage signal. Here there is a means basically this SOGI and the DFT algorithm works means it extracts the only positive sequence component of the fundamental frequency, and it tries to synchronize your converter signal with that the positive sequence component of the fundamental frequency. So that's why it's very accurate, and it's maintain a synchronism with any worst condition of the electrical grid. So this is just one example of our PLL, simple PLL block. I think this block is grid voltage. After that, there is a VQ is the phase. We are comparing this phase is with 0, and it's generated omega. If you do the integration, it gives a theta. Now, if you validate, maybe in simulations also you can check this. Just instead of giving the clean grid, just give this such kind of grid like distorted low order harmonics distorted grid, unbalanced grid, or high frequency distorted grid, or zero crossover distorted grid. We have given this is some test we have done with this PLL. So here you can say as soon as we have applied step load, the converter fails with there is a zero crossover distorted grid. If frequency variation is 2 hertz per second, and with this PLL, it unable to maintain a synchronism. There is a frequency variation with the distorted grid also converter loses its synchronism. Again, zero crossover distorted grid with a frequency variation. So converter was unable to maintain synchronism. So instead of this, so the issues of this conventional PLL, it loses its synchronism. It's failed to operate with zero crossover distorted, and most of the industrial grid, many times it has a zero crossover distorted, and the dynamic response is also slow. So we have to think about some another synchronism control. So this is one of the, I think, some IEEE papers recently. If you search out some harmonic Sogi based synchronization control, you can get some papers. So here what they are doing, they are measuring the grid voltage, converting into alpha beta. Now here they are eliminating all the low order harmonics. This low order harmonics also they are extracting from another Sogi components. So this harmonic component we are subtracting at this side. So we are just getting the fundamental component. Now from this fundamental component, this is a second order generalized integrator. So it just extract only the positive sequence component. So these are the this is some familiar method for this Sogi. Now in this Sogi, this block, we have modified some control, and we have already registered one patent for this synchronization control. So we have adopted some advanced synchronization control. After this means we have not faced any problem related to synchronizations. We have almost more than thousands of units working on sites, but we have not noticed any synchronization failure issues from the sites. And also means condition is not like only clean grid or not only distorted grid. Any combinations of the grid. Suppose some grid has some it's a distorted grid, it's also unbalanced. There is a frequency variation, also amplitude variation, also zero crossover distortion. Such a worst condition also, this synchronization control is working fine. Also, we have validated our control like PLL control. There is our normal grid. It is 120 degree apart RYB phase. Suppose there is a line-to-line fault, and suppose your Y and B phase angle becomes similar, like 180 degree and 180 degree. So in this case, suppose if you are using PLL controller, then here you can see this blue color graph. At this instant, fault is created. So still means it's unable to maintain, means the phase error is unable to goes to zero. While with our propose means our use the harmonic Sogi with our patentable block, it's make this phase to the zero, that is within less than 1.5 cycles. Even more faster, it's less than 1 cycle, but still we are saying like it's less than 1.5 cycle. Also, we can see from this graph, at this instant we have created the fault. With this PLL control, there is a slight phase difference between our converter voltage and the grid voltage. And this minor phase difference, hardly 1 or 2 degree phase difference, is sufficient to flow great amount of power between converter and the grid. So if you are using this if you are using our controller, you can see after almost around 1 cycle, there is almost its maintenance synchronism. Also, we are testing our synchronization control. Like there is a blue waveform. It shows like there is a frequency variation in the grid of 2 hertz per second. It's like this is a 47 hertz, 47 to 53, 53 to again 47. And the slew rate is 2 hertz per second. So if you are using PLL, so at every transition, we can see there is some error between your actual signal and the reference signal. So it's 0.95 radian is the error, and the settling time is 1.05 second. But with this this new control, we have greatly reduced that error and the steady state time. This is just one synchro. Just I would like to show you the synchronization control. Suppose means the grid, you can see the blue waveform shows the grid. The grid is highly distorted. This is yellow waveform shows the no load converter current, and the green waveform shows the DC bus voltage, and it is with the conventional PLL. So, and there is a frequency variation in the grid.
Single phase
So,
WDFC panel.
sorry. So, if you apply the step load, so see, the failure of the converter is happened. It's display also in alarm, it shows like there is a charger is failed. So rectifier set rate. So because of the synchronism, it's fail to maintain synchronism. Now with this our new synchronization control.
406 new software modification. 4 particle frequency variation.
The frequency variation is 4 Hz per second.
WDFC panel. Step load apply remove condition.
Now we are continuous apply step load applied remove condition. So at that time also. This is another one example of the grid of having a frequency variation of 4 Hz per second, and it is highly loaded. That's a main. It is a low voltage condition. And now we are applying the load applied remove condition continuously. You can see here the sky blue waveform. This is the load current. It means input current. So our condition is like that. With all these condition, our converter should work. You can see those of the industrial grid. The yellow waveform shows the grid. And this is blue waveform shows your converter input current. It working is in close synchronism with such kind of the worst condition. So our aim is like that we should build our converter such a robust means design a converter controller such that it should work in all types of condition. It should not be like that it can work only from certain conditions. From oscilloscope, we have gathered this result like there is a phase difference is almost around 180 microsecond with conventional PLL, while here it's only just 40 microsecond difference. So now, this is something new method. I think this AVR design method that we are adopting here. It's a very good method. I think if you maybe you can try this method to design your voltage controller. Okay, so AVR means we are comparing our actual DC bus feedback with the DC reference. There is a AVR control means maybe suppose we are thinking about PI controller. Okay, so what it generates? It generates a ID reference for the inner current loop. Now this is our means converter output, that is our IDC. It goes to this converter output DC capacitor and it is finally connected to the load. So first of all, when we are designing our AVR controller, so first of all you should decide what is your response speed you want from the AVR. Suppose for example, we are taking example of 100 radian per second. We want the response speed of our AVR. So we are designing AVR for the response speed of 100 radian per second. So this is, we have seen, this is VDC reference. We are comparing with the VDC. This is G AVR. This is my actual system. So from this actual system, we have to build a closed loop system. So VDC reference, we are comparing with the VDC. This is AVR, it generates the ID reference. This is the IDC. If we are subtracting the load current, we will get the current through this DC capacitor from this IDC. Suppose if we subtract this load current, you will get the current through this capacitor. So current through the capacitor and divided by 1 by SC, you will get the voltage across this capacitor, and that voltage we are again using for to close this loop. Okay, so now from this closed loop, just write the transfer function for the output to the input. So this is the transfer function, just G divided by 1 plus GH, where G is their forward part gain, and H is the your feedback part gain. So from this, I think so here your G is GAVR divided by 1 by SC, and H is 1. So we can get this GAVR divided by SC plus GAVR. Okay. Now first just we will assume like our AVR is only proportional controller. Okay. So just I am putting KP at here, proportional controller. So KP plus SC plus KP. Now common out KP from the numerator and denominator. So we'll get this transfer function 1 divided by 1 plus SC by KP. Okay. Now compare this transfer function with the first order filter, means first order time constant. What is the first order time constant? Is 1 divided by 1 plus ST. So what is your and T is equal to 1 by omega. So if you compare these two, so you can easily get omega AVR is the KP by C. So 1 by omega AVR is the C by KP. Now you know the value of the C, that is the DC bus capacitor. Omega AVR, that is your design criteria, that is 100 radian per second. So you can select your KP parameter of your voltage controller. Now if you only select the proportional controller, then steady state deviation remains with the disturbance. Suppose there is a disturbance in the load, so still there is maybe some steady state error we cannot eliminate through this proportional controller, so we have to select some integral controller also. So now convert from the proportional to the proportional plus integrator. So if you want to add this integral controller, so you have to be consider like that your integral gain, so that the gain and phase around your response frequency, that is 100 radian per second, should not be altered. So just we have derived like that. If we consider this criteria, like our gain and phase should not be changed if you add the integral controller. So we have achieved this criteria that Ki by Kp is equal to omega AVR by phi. That is thus mathematical only we have done, and we have achieved this equation. So from this you can find out easily Ki, because omega AVR is 100 radian per second, Kp you have already calculated and divided by phi. So that is we can achieve Ki. So just this is the comparison. Suppose if you use only proportional controller, and suppose if you are using PI controller. So with proportional controller, we can see that this blue waveform is without integration, means it shows the proportional controller response, and the green waveform shows this integral control response. So you can see during this low frequency, it provides a high magnitude. So it's always better, because if you want to eliminate particularly harmonics, and if you make the steady state error 0, the gain should be infinite. That is ideal condition. So whatever if you make the higher gain at this lower side, it's always better. And suppose if we do not select the proper integral, then we can see there is a phase difference. Here it can see there is a phase difference of 10 degree. So always if you select Ki by Kp is equal to omega AVR by phi, definitely your integral terms should be proper. So in this way we can design AVR. After designing AVR, just check your AVR response by giving the step response. You can do by simulations, or in simulations, or maybe just by putting doing the coding in M file of this MATLAB, and just give the step response, and you just observe if you are giving the step response, what is the maximum peak overshoot, what is the settling time, and all this. And also you just check, suppose if you apply 100% load, there is a blue waveform shows there is a dip in the DC bus voltage. If you apply the step load, like a pink waveform is the load current. So what is the dip? Whether it is within acceptable limit, because we have DC bus voltage of the converter, but there is some lower limit and upper limit is there. So just think about it, whether we are achieving our criteria or not. If we are not achieving the criteria, again means we have to modify the gain. Second task, once you design AVR controller, now AVR controller generates this reference. So there is an inner current loop. So this is our ACR or current controller. This current controller reference generates a modulating waveform for our converter. Now this is our converter. Converter generates the modulating waveform, and this modulating waveform means after that there is we have LC filter, and it is connected to the grid. Now, if you are applying Thevenin theorem, we can consider like a voltage source as a sort. We can consider during Thevenin equivalent circuit, so it should be sorted. So it becomes a equivalent circuit. So from this, just formulate your closed loop. So I reference, and there is a ACR loop, and we are generating a modulating waveform. So this modulating waveform, it's here. So if you want to calculate the current, then divide that voltage divided by this impedance. This impedance R plus SL means L is the equivalent impedance of your filter, and R is the equivalent resistance of your filter. So from this, we can get again the current through this, means out of the converter, and this current is again used to close this loop. Now write down the closed loop transfer function. So I reference by I feedback, you can easily get this transfer function. Now again compare with the first order, because normally whatever our controller like Kp plus Ki by S, if you just common out Kp, so maybe you can get the first order transfer function only, and first order transfer function is 1 by 1 plus St. So always try to convert this system in this first order system. So 1 by 1 plus St. So easily we can write out omega ACR is equal to, so sorry, this S by omega ACR is equal to R plus SL divided by this J ACR. Now suppose if you are using PI controller, so G ACR I can easily write is equal to Kp plus Ki by S. So just compare this equation with the Kp plus Ki by S. So easily we can get Kp is equal to omega ACR into L, and Ki is equal to omega ACR into R. Now normally for the inner current loop, so we know that inner current loop should be faster than the voltage control loop. Sometimes we are taking inner current loop 10 times faster than the voltage current loop, or maybe you can take between 5 to 10 times faster than your AVR loop. So maybe one can be means like suppose your AVR loop is 100 radian per second, so you can select your ACR between 500 to 1000 radian per second. Or another option is, suppose if you want to write a software for this. So in software, you are working in this discrete domain. So suppose if you have sampling time of TS, suppose sampling time, suppose for example, you have a sampling time of 78 microsecond. So what is your ACR? Normally what we are selecting the omega ACR. So omega ACR we are taking, it is 1 by 3 TS to 5 TS. Means it's a big, there are some big mathematical calculations because we have time constraints. So if you are designing your omega ACR speed between this 1 by 3 TS to 1 by 5 TS, and suppose whatever your TS, that is your sampling interval, if you are writing program, so you are writing program in one ISR, and the ISR execution time is 78. So put that 78 microsecond here. So based on that, just select the ACR speed. Okay. So in this way, if you are designing ACR controller, it's a very high, it's a very robust controller. Now, once you design AVR and ACR, your task is not over, because we are going to implement real hardware. It's not only just simulation space. So we have to consider about the delay, and delay always very dangerous and very important things that we should consider, because delay of our hardware delay plus whatever the feedback we are taking from these systems, so the delay of the measuring delay, then our controller will do its calculations and it generates a control signal. So the delay of this, so all this delay we have to consider. So one consideration is like, suppose your speed of 1 by omega ACR, suppose if it is very greater than your sampling time, then I think if you ignore the delay, then it's also fine. But suppose if it is not very, means if there is not much difference, it's just slightly higher than TS, then definitely we have to consider this delay. Means this delay normally maybe we can just consider that is 1.5 TS. I think we are familiar with the delay of the PWM inverter. So just consider that delay here. You just put this delay block in the simulations here and just verify your ACR loop. Then definitely you will design a very good ACR controller. And as I told, just verify your ACR controller in simulations. Just give the step response and just find out the response. Suppose if you are selecting your ACR response is equal to 2 TS, then the response is, it's a highly peak current. This is a peak overshoot. So maybe it is not suitable. As I told, between 3 TS to 5 TS. So maybe you can get this is 3 kind of response. So according to your requirement, suppose if you require fast settling time, then maybe you can select this blue color graph. It is 3 TS. If you want moderate response, you select this green color graph. It is 4 TS. So like that, you can select your ACR controller. This is just summary of AVR and ACR for this over converter. Now we have designed this AVR controller, inner ACR controller. So this D-axis controller control your phase shifting. It's control your delta. So this is responsible for the active power transfer between converter and the grid. And this is the Q axis controller. So it's responsible for the amplitude change. So amplitude change between the converter, this voltage and the grid voltage. So based on that, it transfer the reactive power. But now this control is sufficient to work in all scenario. So my answer is it's no, it's not possible. So we have to think about extra. We have to add some extra features with this controller. Like with AVR ACR, there is a cross coupling control because we are working in the D channel and Q channel. So both channels should work independently. Suppose if I am changing something here in D channel, suppose it affects this Q channel, then definitely ultimately it's going to be affect your final control signal, modulating signal. So it is not advisable. So we have to use this cross coupling control and feed forward control. So we'll see this. What is the importance of the feed forward control? Because this is our grid and this is our converter. Grid is 50 Hz. So normally in this condition, converter always draws 50 Hz current. But suppose if grid is distorted, like grid has a, apart from the 50 Hz component, there is a 250 Hz component, 150 Hz component, 350 Hz. Means like grid is like distorted grid. So at that time, definitely the converter is also draws this distorted current because you are generating a modulating waveform. This is a sinusoidal voltage, and here grid voltage is like this. Okay, so definitely the harmonics component has a phase difference because we are not generating any harmonics from through converter. We are generating only fundamental waveform. So definitely harmonic current is also going to the flow from this grid to the converter. So unnecessary, maybe this current means exceed the criteria of less than 3% of current THD. So suppose if we would use this feed forward term, means we are taking this grid voltage, we are adding it with the final modulating waveform, maybe by using a LPF. And the LPF cutoff also plays an important role because if you are selecting LPF of 1 Hz or something lower LPF, it has a, the delay of LPF plays an important role. So you have to select LPF properly. What is the cut? What should be the proper cutoff frequency such that it should not affect your control. So if you use feed forward terms, so it improves your transient response. How? Suppose because this is your grid voltage, so this is your suppose converter generated modulating voltage. Suppose there is a dip in the grid. Okay, so accordingly your converter modulating waveform should change. Then only you can work in close coordination with the grid. But suppose there is a dip in the grid, you are sensing through the grid voltage. Your controller will take some action. It changes its controlling signal, and converter ultimately needs make new modulating signals like this. But it takes some time. So during that time, due to these differences in the amplitude, high current will be flow from the grid to the converter. So definitely in this transient condition, your converter might fail. So if you add this feed forward term, means whatever the changes in the grid, directly it changes your final modulating waveform without any delay. So that's why I'm saying it's improving the transient response and reduces the controller effort. Means suppose if you are not using feed forward controller, definitely your controller bandwidth should be such a high enough. You have to build a strong controller. Unnecessary, you have to put a very large bandwidth controller. So instead of that, suppose if I are using this feed forward term, definitely my controller efforts becomes very less. It just giving only the dynamic changes response only. And also it helps to reduce the current THD. As I told, suppose if I'm adding this grid voltage with the modulating voltage, so suppose there is some low order harmonics, my modulating waveform is also going to be changed. So there should not be any harmonic current flow. Now cross coupling control. So suppose cross coupling control, as I told, we want to make control individually of D and Q channel. So suppose if you want to add the cross coupling control, coupling control in the so I to omega L, we are subtracting in B channel, and ID omega L, we are adding the Q channel. So what is the of this omega? Because we may be in state system, or suppose we are writing in the software, then maybe it is in count, so we cannot take L value. So what should be the value of this omega L? So that is here. So there is maybe LC and the overall impedance between grid and this converter. So just like this is an inductor, we can represent like with internal resistance and inductance. This is auto transformer, just primary side and secondary side. We are just transforming all the parameter to the one side. Here we have transferred to the secondary side, like grid side inductors transfer to secondary side, primary winding of the transformer transfer to secondary side, in the secondary winding. We just club all this together and we just find out the percentage X. And from our observation, suppose if your percentage X is greater than 10%, then it is strongly advisable you should add the cross coupling control in your control. Suppose if it is less than 10%, and if you do not add the cross coupling control, it is quite okay. But if it is greater than 10%, this input impedance, definitely you have to add the coupling control to make it. So advantage is like can and improve the transient risk. Find harmonic technique. Suppose you are adding your converter with the grid, but suppose input current THD exceed the 3% of a criteria. So we have to add some over control. So just for the EFs, you have spectrum. Harmonic for we have fundamental frequency. This is lower order harmonics, third harmonic, fifth harmonic, and the seventh harmonic. And this is our switching harmonics. This is Fs, twice Fs, and 3Fs. And normally all these higher switching frequency components, most of the times we are eliminating through the our LC or LCL filter. So because while designing we are considering, suppose if I have designed LCL filter, so definitely I will select my LCL filter cutoff frequency, that is should be Fs by 10. So after that, suppose it's a LC filter, so attenuation is minus 40 dB per decade. Suppose if it is LCL filter, it is minus 60 dB per decade is the attenuation. So it should eliminate all this switching frequency component. But now we are worried about this lower order harmonics. So we have to think some harmonic control for this lower order harmonics. For this higher order harmonics, definitely our LCL filter plays a role. So for the lower order harmonics, this is the familiar techniques. Means we are from the grid current, we are just extracting the harmonic. Like suppose if you want to extract harmonic for the fifth harmonic, we are revolving with a 5 theta speed. So we will get the amplitude of the fifth harmonic. We are comparing this fifth harmonic amplitude and phase with 0 because we want to make this fifth harmonic 0. That's why the reference is 0, giving to the PI. PI generate a modulating waveform for the fifth harmonic. Again reconverting to the ABC domain. And this signal is added with this fundamental modulating waveform. Okay. But this is just waveform without harmonic control. You can see there is a R phase THD 7.7, Y phase is 6.5.29 in B phase. So it's exceeding the THD. So this is just control as I explained. Suppose this is a fifth harmonic controller. This is only positive sequence component. So sometimes we have observed like that only positive sequence component is not sufficient. So we have to use sequence decomposition, symmetrical component analysis, because fifth harmonic component, we may not sure that whether the fifth harmonic has only negative sequence component. Like just one example I would like to see, suppose it's a voltage source inverter, then it's quite easy to do the harmonic correction. But here we are designing this converter, that is grid connected converter, so it's a current control device, and it's quite difficult based on the grid condition. The harmonic currents, maybe it's a positive sequence component or maybe it's a negative sequence component. So that's why we have to develop positive as well as the negative sequence component. So like this is a fifth harmonic control. So we have the positive sequence component correction, and this is a negative sequence component. And one thing during this finally reverse transformation, just here also normally we are providing this like a theta only. So instead of we should use some advanced delay, that is 1.5 TS, that is the delay of the PWM inverter. And as we are working for the fifth harmonic, so just multiply by 5. So we can see, you can see just in simulation, suppose just give here 5 theta and just observe the response and just add pi into 1.5 TS and observe the response. We'll get the good results with by adopting all this advanced delay. Because whatever the delay of our system, we have to provide some advanced delay in our control. That's then only we can meet the real time correction. Similarly, for the third harmonic control, it is similar to the fifth harmonic control. So here also positive, negative. Suppose if it is a voltage source inverter, then third harmonics is the zero sequence component. So just third harmonics magnitude you just compare with the zero. That is sufficient. But it's current control. That's why we have to adopt this sequence decomposition method. After this, we are also testing these 3 tests. Like we are giving some surge tests in the grid. We are doing impulses in the grid voltage. There is a fast transient we are giving in the grid, and we are just testing whether our converter is able to maintain the synchronism, able to connect with the grid or not. So all these conditions also we have verified in our factory premises. So here we said that with this conventional control, suppose if we give a transient or impulse here, it's fail. Suppose if we give surge here, it's fail. But now with this modified and this robust control, it's functioning very fine. There should not be any problem. Now this is final our control with, like suppose the worst case, like there is a third harmonics 4 hertz per second frequency variation, distorted gradient. Continuously we are applying step load and removing the step load from no load to full load and full load to no load conversion. So you can see that your converter is very robust. Now with any kind of condition, it's functioning properly. Now this is the last thing. I think I will take more than 1 hour. Sorry for that. Just one thing I want to say that about normally here we are using MS Excel based ability and ability like suppose if you have designed AVR and ACR, so do the stability analysis for this AVR in ACR by using MS Excel if you are really planning for the hardware implementation, because MS Excel always will show the results at each and every sampling instant. Like this is our converter, this is our REC, this is our converter, this is DC bus voltage, this is our grid voltage, and it is our LCL filter. So this is our AVR that already we have designed. But here, as I told, we have to consider all this delay like 1.5 TS, and also suppose whatever, suppose we are working in the per unit. So every time we have to consider about this conversion. And suppose here, this is your IDC current. Now IDC current is going into the real plant, that is 1 by CDS into CDCS, 1 by SC. So now we are putting actual value. So we have to convert from per unit to this actual value. So this conversion, so all this we have to take into consideration. This is ACR loop. From this, just we have to do the stability for this ACR and AVR, and just verify whatever the response you have. Like suppose if you planning to response AVR for 100 radian per second, just check yes it is 100 per radian per second or not. Suppose ACR is 2073, then it's okay, it's fine. then what is the phase margin and gain margin? Suppose here you are getting phase margin is around 59 degrees. So if you are getting 60-degree phase margin, it's I think it's good. Suppose if you are getting maybe for this AVR loop, we are getting a phase margin is around 23 degree. So just check whether our GM or PM is positive or not. Suppose if it is not, then definitely there we have to do some exercise in this simulation, in this tool, and you can modify the controller. So these are just our final converter that we have tested with frequency variation 1 per hertz per second, frequency variation with all this distorted grid and all these conditions. So now just I would like to take some Q&A. Before I conclude my presentation, I would like to take some question and answer from questions from the audience.
Yeah. So thank you, Prashant, for a very detailed presentation. We were not expecting that it will be that long, but it is very much practical aspects you have covered. So, but then since I'm not expert in power electronics, I would like the students or any others to ask the questions. So, any questions, please?
Students, any question? Several students are there. By the way, you're having classes. You're having another class. Or no, people with us, you're having another class?
No, sir.
No,
Okay. So you can ask some questions if you have any doubt. Of course, like initially it appeared because there are so many things in the presentation. Like voltage controller, current controller, design, cross-coupling term, and all those things were there, right? Feed-forward control. But Prashad, I have one question. See, okay, nobody's asking. So sometimes that feed-forward term is even dangerous actually, right? We found that, see, if we do the mathematical analysis, the cross-coupling and feed-forward terms will definitely come from the equation. It directly comes from the equation. And ideally, the feed-forward term should be feed-forward gain should be 1. Okay. But we experienced that if we keep the feed-forward gain values at 1, system becomes unstable.
Correct.
So like, so how much you kept? Like a 0.2 kind of thing? You just what is the? How did you tune it? Like
yeah. For the feed-forward control, we used to prefer the LPF low-pass filter. Without LPF, sometimes it's dangerous, as you said. Suppose there is some suddenly transient frequency component is available in the grid side. So we are directly adding frequency component as transient with this final modulating waveform. And ultimately, modulating waveform is going to our final converter device. So it's not advisable to add directly feed-forward. It's always advisable to add with LPF. And the LPF cutoff also plays an important role. So according to our requirement, we are just selecting the cutoff for this LPF.
No, that we can do. That we can do based upon that. So we can, like, if you are having a grid is harmonic polluted, so like we can implement our control if you want based upon only that fundamental component, right? So at the DQ transformation level itself, we can separate out the harmonics. Right. Now, my question is that suppose there are no harmonics in the system, right? Means then also like do we observe like putting like one for the feed forward is making the system unstable, right? So they are.
So maybe we have to check because we are using this feed-forward control. Feed-forward control. We are just making bandwidth of AVR and ACR should be lower, not very high. Suppose if you are putting very high bandwidth for converter also, means like this AVR and ACR, it should not be very fast. Otherwise, because of feed-forward and AVR is also fast, so definitely it's not works properly. So just we are making at that time a bit slower. because we have already forward to taking care of the transient. So we are just thinking about the AVR response that is based on the steady state response, not only about transient. So we are and also we are making bandwidth very slow, very low for this AVR receiver.
No, are you applying it to that bulk grid or at the microgrid level? That whatever converters you have made, it's a microgrid level or the like large grid level?
At microgrid as well as for the large, like we have megawatt solar PC are using this, and this is a converter that is at like some smaller kVA rating, like 5 kVA to 40 kVA or 5 kVA to 200 kVA. We are also using this.
So for the actually this I say out of curiosity is practically how the industry people do, because if you're connecting it to the large grid, that means that large
Yes.
grid bus can be taken as an infinite bus, right? Okay, so
Yes.
and in that case, I think we can very easily design by means of like preparing the detailed small signal model of the converter system, right? And then we can try to by means of some optimization, right? We can try to tune several parameters simultaneously, right? By
Correct.
building Miss, I understand. For example, like inner current control loop should be faster than outer voltage loop, and this kind of time scale discrimination should be made. But
Yes.
beyond that, like in some cases, like parameters can be several parameters can be tuned simultaneously by means of the optimization. But your company is doing something like that, simultaneous optimization of different controller parameters. Like it's not like classical technique; it's optimization based technique. So
Yeah, yes, sir. I remember one incident like for this LVRT. When we are doing this LVRT, we have designed this LVRT. So we have designed LVRT controller for only one solar PCS, and we have to do LVRT for the two conditions. One is for the standalone and another for the parallel. So for the parallel LVRT, whatever the design control gain was not working properly. So at that time we have done this online tuning, whatever you said. So based on that, we have done the online tuning. We also passed out at LVRT for the parallel PCS. So it's quite also easy, but sometimes normally for this industrial grid, we are preferring to this approach.
Actually, it's just for students. Like it is never like this retuning that converter for the grid connected application. It is not a very easy job, right? And it is great that Hitachi and as I say, I should also say like. Uh, we are proud of Prashant, and I am even more proud of him because he was my student, right? Of course, right? It is also an honest confession that I did not help him much. I could not at that time help him much, right? He did everything. Okay, Prashant, can you answer one? There is one question from one student in chat box.
Okay. Minimizing. So is it possible to read that questions?
Okay. People you directly ask, na?
Yes, sir. Sir, am I audible?
You ask.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sir, recently we were studying about practical considerations about power converter design. So, sir, in that, I have one question that what practical challenges do we face while designing heat sink for power converters? So, because while designing such power converters for grid system, sorry.
Yeah.
So his question.
Could you please repeat
His question is, which challenges do we face while designing heatsink for power converters? Which challenges do you practically face while designing heatsink for power converters?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, suppose if you want to design a heatsink, so I think you have maybe suppose you have to finalize which type of heatsinks. What is the suppose if you are putting your devices on the heatsink, suppose if it is in some box, so what is the airflow at that heatsink? And also I think you have know the R theta of that heatsink. So based on that, you just calculate what is the you should calculate the losses from your converter. So based on that losses, just calculate the junction temperature and just check out whether this junction temperature is exceeding over the temperature that is mentioned in your specifications of the devices like IGBT. And you can also do, there are several tools are available like SemiCells and Fuji simulations tool. You just go in to that sites, you just put out all the data. It's like the loss and what are your criteria, what is the frequency, switching frequency, what is your R theta, what is your ambient temperature, and all these parameters. And based on that, it just calculate the switching loss and conduction loss and what is the junction temperature of your at your heat sinks. Just validate whether design heat sink is sufficient or not. Maybe the airflow is sufficient or not. Suppose if airflow is not sufficient, maybe you can increase the airflow if it is possible, or if it is not possible, then maybe you can think about another heat sink. Maybe you can increase the fins, you can increase the width of the heat sink, or maybe instead of the extruded heat sink, maybe you can try for another heat sink. So means there are several aspects.
Thank you, sir.
Shiva Kumar.
Sir, one more question. Shall I continue, sir?
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Sir, generally in an ideal system, when we design any converter, so we say that the general efficiency is say 98% or something. So there we refer to the loss ideally as 2% loss. So sir, what kind of loss do we generally see in a practical system design? So is it 2% or does it go beyond that also, sir?
When we are claiming our efficiency 98% and 97%, we have to think about all the losses, not only about the our converter. Like there is losses in the magnetics, there is a switching loss, conduction loss, plus even we have to consider what is the loss of the fan. Even in control card, PSFB card, SMPS card, these losses at the component level also we have to calculate the losses. Means we are just considering the efficiency from the output to the input. So between output to input, we have to consider all the losses. So then only we can claim like that our system efficiency is 98%. But just clarify whether it's a weighted efficiency, European weighted efficiency, or what is the efficiency.
Okay.
So means we have to my answer is like we have to consider all types of losses from the discrete component to the all this bigger component like magnetics and all this.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
And before there are some converters again whose losses are 70%. It depends on the application, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
There are like space constraint is also an issue, right? Okay.
Yes,
Type of right? What type of conductors you have to do, because recently I came to know about it, right? For certain application, they do not want to go for a very high efficiency because that puts some other burden on them, right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Shiva Kumar wanted to ask something.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sir, I just wanted to know, like, what are your control platform? Like, where do you implement this? Like while designing and while implementing, I mean, while designing the board for the commercial product or while designing for your verification?
What kind of controller did
First
you
of all,
use?
we are making some prototype in our control platform.
Yes, sir.
Right? We are asking about where we are designing our controls and testing of
Yeah,
this control.
FPGA,
I just
DSP.
wanted to know. Yes, sir. I just wanted to know the clock frequency and the corresponding clock cycles, like nearly for all the operations that you mentioned, feed forward and all.
Yes. So normally we are now we are using mostly DSP and FPGA controller. So for the DSP, maybe just now as I'm working, that is 150 megahertz is the clock frequency. 150 or 90 megahertz.
335.
So based on that, we are doing the simulations now.
Okay. Even for the practical design board that you sell commercially, you do the.
It's actually in our R&D premises, suppose if we are making some converter, so we know that we require some this converter controller card. So first we are just developing that prototype controller card. Maybe that is our simple this in-house. We are just making that control card. We are just testing that response of that control. And one thing is about maybe whatever the TS I am saying, that TS is not like this 1 by 150 megahertz. TS sampling time. Then this is the
Yes.
crystal frequency is one much that execution step for controller. So suppose if you are reaching frequency of 10 kilohertz, then maybe you can select TS is 1 by 10, 1 by into 10 kilohertz. So that should be ideal ISR response. So that is the TS. Whatever the TS I have told in ACR and AVR design. So it depends on your switching frequency. And whatever, suppose for the controller, suppose if you are selecting the high clock frequency, definitely your accuracy is going to be improved, but the cost is also going to, it's higher. So every time in industry means we have to think about the cost, size, reliability, and all this. So according to the requirement, we are just using different control. Like in some of our converter, we are using F28069 DSP control. Some of we are using F28335. Some of we are using Delfino dual core controller. So it depends on our applications and requirement.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. One last question.
Yeah.
So, like, as you are from industry, I just wanted to know, out of curiosity, have you ever seen a current source converter in the application?
Which application?
Actually,
Which application?
current source.
Which
Sir,
application?
like
Yeah, I mean,
for a solar PV or for a rectifier?
means actually we are saying like current source inverter. Suppose if it is grid connected, then it is okay. But suppose like a voltage source inverter, suppose if I have to, requirement of the CSI, current source inverter, I think industry it is very rare. No one is preferring this. Like VSI, they are using some current source inverter.
Okay.
So as of now, means.
Prashant, I have one question. What is the typical what is the maximum switching frequency that you have considered for your converter?
As of now, we are working with the silicon-based IGBT. So maximum switching frequency here we are using 10 kilohertz. Now we are moving for the SI or GaN devices. So maybe we are planning. We are just working presently is 30 kilohertz and all this.
But 30 kilohertz, like in that case, the controller implementation will be difficult. No? Then the sampling step size will have to be reduced a lot. Otherwise, you cannot realize that the possible duty ratios that you can realize will be like the set will be very narrow actually. So that's something that
we are FPGA platforms all this.
No, what is the minimum sampling step size that you can go up to, so that all the computation can be done in real time for your converter?
Minimum steps are you asking?
Minimum, so that you can do all the computation in real time for your controller.
Real time is we have that 1.5 TS delay always will be there, but because of the system impedance, it does not have any impact on performance. So
I am talking about sampling step size, like
sampling step is around right now. In one of my converter, I am using 78 microsecond.
70?
Because actually 7-8 microsecond, because we require such a maybe 78 microsecond, because not only in this ISR we have to write about the control for the communications and protections, and there are several controls are there. So these times also we have to calculate execution times. That's why it's quite big, 78. But suppose if we can reduce it, suppose 40 microsecond, then always it's better.
Yeah, but in that case, suppose 10 kilohertz is a big problem actually, right? Whatever I feel, like see, because what we are doing on one work, this is called RPPT for photovoltaic system, right? They are even with 1 microsecond step size also we are facing problem, because duty ratio is getting quantized, right? So okay, so duty ratio is getting quantized, right? We are not getting so many duty ratios, right? So that is exactly what I am asking. Right? The duty ratio quantization problem is there if you go for high switching frequency of the converter, but
Correct.
at the same time high is sampling step size. So there will be a problem. That is exactly.
Correct, sir.
Yeah. So any other question? No question.
Yeah. So then, shall we conclude, Bhaskarji?
Yeah.
Yes, we can conclude.
Yeah.
It
So
was
just summary, we have just industrial process for developing a new product is explained in this presentation. As it started from the sales specifications and it ended with the field trial. We are sometimes also we are doing field trial also before launching any new product. And second is, suppose if you want to design a control for the converter, we have to understand system configurations thoroughly. Then we can do the modeling of the systems. Then you can design control for this by using whatever the required action. Finally, you do the simulations-led analysis before any hardware implementation. Finally, you do the hardware implementation and do the validation. So these are the normal steps to build any new product. So thank you everyone for your time.
okay. So just before we end, just students are there. I just want to say something about Prashant, right? So Prashant's career.
Bhaskarji, shall I stop recording?
Yes. You stop. That is better.
Yeah.